What's up everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Josh Perry and today I'm going to share 4 steps to reset your metabolism. For those that are new to the channel, I'm a former professional BMX athlete, multiple brain tumor survivor, keto coach, and public speaker. You can learn more about me and all that I'm up to here on this channel, as well as my Instagram page at JoshPerryBMX. And if you do follow my journey, you've likely heard of keto or the ketogenic diet. Now, I prefer to look at this as more of a lifestyle than a diet, as I've never felt so satiated, energized, and mentally clear from any other way of eating in the past, and my body composition has never been better or easier to maintain. Keto isn't intended to deprive the body of energy. There's virtually never a time where there's an energy shortage while on keto. This is because once fat and keto adapted, hunger and cravings are kicked to the curb. But what is keto? Keto is a catchphrase for all things pertaining to a state of ketosis, which is a metabolic state of accumulating ketones in your bloodstream by burning fat in the liver. Ketones are an optimal brain source of energy that is produced by the liver when consuming ultra-low carbohydrate, moderate protein, and high-fat meals. In order to have a chance at tapping into our brain's optimal fuel source, which is fat and ketones, we have to reset our metabolism from being locked into the constraints of chronically elevated levels of insulin from sugar dependency to the liberating and brain boosting abilities of fat burning. For some, this is going to be a very new way of approaching any diet they've attempted in the past, and for others, it may be similar to things that you've tried or heard of previously. Now, I'd rather look at this as a mindset shift rather than a diet. I find that keto has given me tremendous perspective and consciousness in a variety of areas of my life, but mainly in regards to what food truly is and how it biologically interacts with my body. Keto has allowed me to personally navigate my health goals and guide many others to do the same, whether it be shedding body fat pounds, getting rid of brain fog and headaches, getting off type 2 diabetes medication, or controlling their seizures. Once you give this reset 100% effort and start to experience the benefits, you'll see how easy it is to follow, and you're not gonna wanna stop because of how good you feel and perform in all aspects of your life. Either way you look at keto, it's a scientifically supported system for optimizing genes to burn fat and optimally fuel your brain. Now, I've guided friends, family, and clients to success with improving body composition and taking back their brain's health and functionality. Now, as for me, keto is what I believe has helped keep the brain tumors I live with at bay, and is why I live my life by keto and have made it into a lifestyle. Now, food choices are certainly a big part of this metabolic equation, but to fully tap into our body's ability to burn fat for energy, other things like managing stress, exercising, as well as time-restrictive eating can complete this whole picture. Now, I briefly covered each of these topics in a previous video called 5 Steps to Burning Fat and Fueling Your Brain. I put a link in the description below so you can check that video out, and I'll be elaborating on each of those steps in future videos. If you've already seen that video, you'll find that some of the following tips to be a great refresher course with a more in-depth look at each of the steps. Now, let's get into step 1. The first step to resetting our metabolism from sugar burning and carbohydrate dependency to fat burning and keto adaptation is to cut down on carbohydrate consumption. This is a really simple step, yet because of the power of sugar to influence our cravings, it can be difficult for many people to implement, and it certainly was for me. Now, it cannot be overstated, however, that to cut out carbs is to cut out the very foods that trigger us to store fat and keep us dependent on glucose as an energy source. Learning which foods are high in carbohydrates can be confusing at first, so briefly, these foods would be all foods that contain starches, fruits, grains, added sugars, syrups, even honey, soda and sports drinks, and even things like alcohol. If you're unsure if a particular food contains carbohydrates, a simple Google search for that food's nutritional facts will get you the right information that you need. And if you're still unsure, leave a comment below or email me at josh@joshperrybmx.com and I'll be happy to help. Now, step 2 is directly related to step 1 in that when we eat carbohydrates, whether it's an apple, a sweet potato, or a can of soda, they all turn to sugar and cause our body's blood glucose levels to rise. In response, our body signals the pancreas to secrete the hormone insulin to handle the rise in blood glucose levels. Now, insulin's primary objective is to get food energy, that is calories, into the cell to be converted by our mitochondria into our body's energy currency known as ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, that's used to fuel everyday functions. When we have chronic high levels of blood glucose, we also have chronic high levels of insulin, which is keeping our cells stocked with available energy from the glucose. Our body therefore doesn't have to burn fat for fuel because there's an abundant energy source present. This available glucose is stored in the form of glycogen in the muscle and liver to be used for energy production later on. While somewhat individualized and dependent on several factors, generally speaking, the liver can store about 100 grams of carbohydrates in the form of glycogen, while the muscles can store about 400 grams of carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. Now, after our glycogen stores are full, excess glucose is stored in the adipose tissue as triglycerides, which makes us fatter over time, and when we have chronic excessive carbohydrate intake, we never give our body the full opportunity to experience the benefits of fat burning. Cutting out foods mentioned in step 1 will help to lower blood glucose levels, therefore managing insulin levels, and allow us to start using up our glycogen stores so that way we can begin to metabolize fat and make ketones for fuel. Again, you're gonna want to avoid things like starches, fruits, juice, processed junk food, candy, soda, alcohol, energy drinks and sports drinks, as well as grains like wheat, rice, and their byproducts, things like bread, pasta, pastries, cereal, bagels, granola bars, wraps, and so on. These foods are nutritionally devoid, and the small amounts of nutrition some of them may have are sacrificed by the glucose load that comes along with them. Now, as a side note, not only do these foods in excess lead to increased insulin levels, they also result in increased inflammation, rapid cell growth and division, and oxidative stress, all of which contribute to the body's fat storage and overall not feeling well. Now, in some cases, small amounts of sweet potatoes, carrots, and berries are okay for 1 to 3 weeks initiating the step. Just be aware it's very individualized in regards to how different people will respond. Now, individuals that are more carbohydrate intolerant may benefit best to cut out all starches and grains and sugar completely until they reach their goals with their body composition and how they feel. Now, you can get a blood glucose monitor known as a glucometer to test your blood before and then increments of 30, 60, and 90 minutes after eating a meal containing carbohydrates to see how your body responds to that sugar load and correlate that with how you feel after consuming carbohydrates and throughout the day. Now, as a good starting point, I recommend setting a limit of 50 grams to 100 grams of total carbohydrates per day and eating these foods between about 2 and 4 p.m. This will keep you burning through your glycogen stores for the predominant part of the day and have a chance at looking at fat for fuel. But if you want to initiate fat burning and ketone production sooner than later, stick to 50 grams total of carbohydrates a day or less and get your body moving as much as you can. The more you move your body, the more the muscle glycogen can be burned for energy and give your metabolism a chance to reset to fat burning. This is because once glycogen is stored in the muscle cell, it has to be burned in the muscle cell. Liver glycogen, on the other hand, can release the glycogen in the form of glucose in the bloodstream to be used for any demand of the body that's needed. Now, at the same time, limiting your carbohydrate intake to 50 grams or less of total carbohydrates per day will help you to not replenish those glycogen stores to capacity. While you're beginning to limit your carbohydrate intake to 50 grams total per day, you'll need to raise your fat intake to make up for the deficit in overall calories as you burn through your glycogen stores. Now, this is step 4 to resetting your metabolism to fat burning predominantly for fuel. So start by replacing the insulin promoting foods you've cut out with some of my favorite high fat satiating foods. I like to get my fats from fatty cuts of meat, grass-fed butter, avocados, macadamia nuts, whole eggs, any style, bacon, heavy cream, cheddar cheese, olive oil, and avocado oil-based dressings such as Primal Kitchen dressing, and MCT oil. So go ahead, restock your fridge, your pantry, your gym bag, and any other place that you store food with these great fat sources. Now, you can't beat cooking some fatty cuts of meat, cooking meat in grass-fed butter with salt and pepper, cooking Brussels sprouts with chopped up bacon, or having a big ass fat salad. It's filling, satisfying, and supports fat burning and optimally fueling your brain. I would also recommend that you begin incorporating MCT oil regularly, as part of this fat goes straight to the liver to produce ketones. With that said, it's recommended you begin with 1 to 2 teaspoons about 1 to 2 times a day to avoid any gastrointestinal distress. Now, you can simply add MCT oil to salads with your dressing, on top of cooked vegetables with some salt and spices, or to your coffee or tea. Now, if you do add MCT oil to your coffee or tea, I would recommend blending it so it doesn't separate, or use a powdered form of MCT oil so you can just mix it straight into your coffee or tea, or add it to a fat protein shake. Note that the steps we just went over are max effort and a big commitment, especially for those with past yo-yo dieting, eating disorders, or those with massively damaged metabolisms. You have to make sure that you're prepared at all times and have these foods at hand to reach out for any time of the day, no matter where you are. So some final tips I want to leave you with is, if you're hungry, I want you reaching out for those high-fat foods we just talked about. Things like avocados, macadamia nuts, hard-boiled eggs, meats, and cheese. But on the flip side, if you're not hungry, you don't have to eat. Give your digestive system a break from burning food so it can burn fat on your body. But don't starve yourself, of course. But there is definitely no need to eat if you're not hungry. So there you have it, 4 ways to reset your metabolism and start burning fat for fuel. By following these steps and having patience with each of them, you can begin to become fat and keto adapted, which allows you to efficiently, effectively, and enjoyably burn fat and fuel your brain with potentially limiting any signs of cravings, fatigue, brain fog, and headaches, or anything else that's taking energy away from you performing at your highest level. And finally, there are more advanced steps to resetting your metabolism to burning fat and start producing ketones regularly. There's also much more context that is required to assess each of these steps for any individual specifically, and that's why I'm putting out more and more of these videos, as well as why I offer options for individuals or groups of people to receive my guidance and support through my coaching programs. Now, if you found this video helpful in any way, please give it a like and share it with someone that may benefit. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on the latest videos and click the little bell icon to be alerted when I drop a new video. And feel free to comment whatever questions you may have regarding keto or anything else that you've seen me talk about on this channel before. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you so much and thank you for all of your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.